Welcome to my plot 3 in North Warwickshire. Today we're going to look at building the Brassica cage. A few simple things. One of my subscribers, Muddy Boots, wanted to have a closer in-depth look at how to build one and move it about his plot during the seasons. Let's have a look. Ideally, for that size Brassica cage, you need about 3 metres of water pipe and netting, or should we say 2 3-metre widths, so that you've got 6 metres in total, and have one join up the middle. If you've got 2 metre wide netting, you'll have 2 joints. I'll just show you the joints. All I've done is cable tied them together. Zip ties, whatever you call them. Ideally, you'd have 2 3-metre wide lengths, and you'd start from the middle and work down each side to get your central point. I'll just show you inside. So we start off with a reinforcing bar at the bottom. Slide the pipe over the top of that rebar and create a shape that you want. A rebar that end, and also one in the middle, which I'll demonstrate on another part of my allotment shortly. But as you can see, everything's held together with cable ties, so it's easily disassembled and moved to the next part of the garden. But all the parts, the water pipe, the rebars, can all be reused, including the netting. If one plot's wider than the other, you will then have not so much room to walk around inside. It's joined at the top with a piece of water pipe cut to size so that you've got your initial shape. And the wooden battens are just held together with some cable ties and support posts driven into the ground, which can easily be replaced if they go rotten. I'll just turn around now and show you the door. Again, because of how I've got my raised beds, I fastened 2 bits of wood to the bottom, and taken it up and fastened it to the pipe and some other timber on the outside, just to create a doorway. It doesn't have to be tidy, all we're trying to do is keep the butterflies out. I'll show you the door from the outside. So we've pulled the net in, not tight, and then fastened it down with another batten. And then I've put a support piece of pallet across the top, and then I've wound the other net in over a larger piece of timber, so it's easily dropped down and you've got easier access. I'll just close the door. As debris netting is quite fine, the wind does tend to push and blow on it, so when the butterflies are about, I will be putting some heavy stones on the bottom of that, and hopefully the butterflies won't actually get into the fruit cage. Here are the joints on the other side. All this netting was left by the previous pot holder, which I've made full use of. I've even done a repair just there on a large hole. I may have to put a cable tie on these holes. I'm not sure whether they're crafty enough to crawl in or not, but we shall soon find out, probably over the summer. Okay, I'll show you a little demonstration of how to create the initial frame of the cage. So we've got 2 pieces of water pipe, 2 reinforcing bars at whatever length you can get them. If you want the cage taller, they'll need to be longer out the ground so it retains its vertical shape from the ground. The trusty sledgehammer, safety gloves, and something to cut the pipe to fill in the centre. I'll apply the rebars into the ground now. So we've got 1 rebar in there and another one in there. It's trial and error to get your shape, but the pipe slides on and off quite easily. I'll now slide the pipes over and put the joining rebar in the middle to show you how you need to cut and make the shape. You could use a full length of pipe and go all the way over and down to the bottom, but then you wouldn't be able to control the shape. So I'll show you how I do that. So I've slid that rebar in the top. I've just stood back and had a look. So the blue plastic pipe on the right now needs to be slid along the top of the rebar going towards the left. We should then be able to square it up. And that's looking a little bit better. So we're going to get an offcut of water pipe, measure it across that distance where the rebar is showing and fit it, and hopefully that'll be the shape of your Brassica cage. So there's your initial shape. Quite sturdy, depending on how far you knock the rebars into the ground. I'll just take a closer look at the joint. There's the joint in the middle. Now if your raised bed is wider, you increase the width of the piece of pipe that's in the middle. So reusing all the materials, and just by cutting an extra piece of pipe for next season's raised bed, Brassica bed, even use it as a fruit cage maybe, but obviously not using debris netting, as the insects that pollinate your fruit won't be able to get in. But this is to keep the butterflies out. I'll move on. The trusty staple gun came out, so you could actually pull it taut, reasonably taut, don't go overboard, but you don't have to fasten any of the pipes together because the netting will do that for you. Ideally, if I was to buy some debris netting, I would get a 3 metre length, drape it over the top once you built your initial frame, spread it down the sides, increase or decrease the length of the water pipe to suit your netting, and make sure that you've got enough to fasten, either using battens or staples, however you want to fix it. I hope that's been a use to you. Thanks Muddy Boots for asking about it. And I'm going to show you the joint again, because I forgot on previous videos after one of your comments. But zip ties I found were the easiest, as I thought that I wouldn't be able to actually get the netting onto my sewing machine. Many thanks to you all. Thanks for subscribing. My next video will be on the fruit cage. Thank you.